Let us start with a question. What was the capital of British India in 1900? Bit difficult question, right? We must have studied in your school history classes, but we must have forgotten. If you do not know or if you don't remember what we do, we guess it. Delhi is the right answer. This is the way we human beings do. When we do not know, when we don't remember, we guess it. This is what exactly AI also does. When AI doesn't know the correct answer, based on the previous experiences, it guesses it. Remember, AI is trained on huge amount of data. Based on that data, it tries to identify some pattern. When a question comes, it tries to fetch that pattern and tries to give the answer. Many times, this will be absolutely nonsense and it will be reflected as what is called hallucination. Then the question comes, if we want the correct answer, the accurate answer, what do we do? And that is what we try to do in today's episode of Truly AI. We talk about RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. At the end of the session, we will be able to understand what is retrieval, how augmentation is done, how modern system could be able to generate, and the whole RAG system is incorporated in the modern systems. I am Dr. C.B. Abraham. What was the capital of India in 1800? This requires a correct, perfect answer, not a guess. Then what we do? We look for some books. Okay, let me take some books. Okay. Not all books may be relevant. Let me go through this. Okay. Yeah, I think this book is good. The Story of India. Others are irrelevant. Therefore, we identify this book, and I do not have the time to read all these books. Therefore, what we do? I just identify the relevant book and give some markers to the respective portions, and each of these portion is said to be a chunk. Therefore, each chunk will be containing information about India, and some chunk will be having the relevant information. This chunk contains information to answer the question. This process of identifying the chunk and seeing that relevant information is available over there is said to be the retrieval. The retrieval contains identification of an external source, dividing that into different small segments called chunks and corresponding to the question, and that particular chunk information will be used in order to find the answer. Remember, this textual information and the question converted to numeric and corresponding pattern matches identified, and correspondingly it would be able to identify the best chunk which contains that, and this process is said to be the retrieval. The most important aspect is that we have provided the external source to AI. AI did not choose the source, and we human beings provided the source so that AI could be able to identify the context, and that is what the retrieval is all about. So we have the relevant portion, we call it as chunk, so that we could be able to answer the question based on that part of the external source. Then this chunk, suppose this is the respective part, therefore this chunk will be providing to AI so that AI could be able to use it. Therefore now AI has the relevant portion which would help to answer the question. Therefore this process is said to be augmentation. Therefore AI has its own capability. In addition, it could be augmented, provided with chunk of information which would help the AI to answer the question. Then the question comes, how AI could be able to generate, and that is what we try to do in the next scene. So this is the relevant part which we call it as chunk, which could be able to answer the question what was the capital of British India in 1900. This we call it as the context. Therefore, this context contains the relevant portion which could be able to answer the question. Now, we provide this context to AI. Therefore, AI will be having its own capability. In addition, it has the relevant information as the context. Therefore, it doesn't need to guess because it has the relevant information. AI uses its own capability of prediction along with the relevant information so that the output generated will be much more accurate and perfect, not a guess. This process is said to be the generation. Therefore, for generation, AI uses its own capability of prediction along with the content or the context we provided so that AI could be able to generate the correct, precise and accurate information. It doesn't need to guess it. This is what is called the generation. Therefore, we have seen RAG contains three aspects: retrieval, identifying the source, dividing that into different chunks, and identifying the best chunk corresponding to the question. Second, augment, that means the respective chunk is provided to AI so that AI could be able to use it. And the third one, generation, using the respective context, AI could be able to generate the correct and the perfect answer, not the guess. So we have the context. Yes, we have the relevant information. In the year 1900, the capital of British India was Calcutta. This particular information is available in the chunk. Now let us see how this actually works. We upload this context into ChatGPT. Here we have the file called context.docs. Now we ask the question, what was the capital of British India in 1900? Then AI uses this information and correspondingly it gives the answer. The capital of British India in 1900 was Kolkata, now called Kolkata. It remained the capital from 1772 until 1911, after which it was shifted to Delhi. Here also we have the information about when it was shifted to Delhi. Let us check when the capital was shifted to Delhi. Let us have that precise question and correspondingly it gives the answer. The capital of British India was officially shifted to Delhi from Calcutta in 1911. This information it could be able to be extracted from the document we have provided. This is what is called the RAG. The whole external source is divided into small segments called chunks. Then correspondingly identifies the chunk corresponding to the question. Then it could be able to augment based on the power of AI, and this additional information could be able to be used, and based on that AI generates the content. And that content generated is correct, accurate. It is not a guess because it is from a authorized source. This is the way the RAG is incorporated in the systems. We have seen how RAG works, and correspondingly we have uploaded one PDF to the system, and we have seen how the respective answers is retrieved. But the modern systems, things work much more sophisticated way, because when we deal with huge amount of data, splitting the data into different chunks, converting that into numerical representation called embeddings, and fetching the relevant chunk which could be able to answer the question and providing the answer involves huge amount of complex tasks. Luckily, all these tasks could be able to be easily done using modern specific platforms. Here we just introduce some of these platforms using which we could be able to perform this RAG operation much easily in a seamless fashion. One of the most important platform is the LangChain. LangChain could help us to provide the whatever may be the type of the data. It could be able to be inserted to the system, and it will be automatically dividing into chunks depending upon our own requirement, and correspondingly it could be able to retrieve and generate information. The another one is nothing but Crew AI. This also works in a much more similar way, and it is relevant especially in the case of high level or organization level requirement. And third one is AutoGen, provided by Microsoft. It also could be able to provide this type of operations. All these use the coding in different levels of sophistication, and some of the non-code platforms also there. One of the most important one is called the Flowwise. In Flowwise, as we see on the screen, we could be able to just provide the corresponding document store, and we could be able to update. We could be able to just insert the document, and correspondingly we could be able to chat with the AI, and AI could be able to provide information retrieved from that particular source. That way AI could be able to provide precise and correct information, not a guessed one. We have seen how the RAG system works. If the question is, what was the capital of British India in 1900? Suppose our source is this about animals. Do we get an answer? Yes, we will get an answer, but the answer will be wrong. Wrong source, wrong answer. Suppose we provide the right source, the story of India. Yes, it could be able to provide the correct answer. Therefore, wrong external source provide to AI, the answer will be wrong, and the correct source is provided to AI will be able to give the right answer. Therefore, the efficiency of the RAG system is based on the quality of the external source we provide. Therefore, it is nothing about the intelligence of AI. The efficiency of the RAG system works on the quality of the external source we provide. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, kindly like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Until then, truly AI.